Hello, welcome back, my name is Sybonn, and welcome to a little remake video of the floating islands called the Bubble Islands. So there's always been something about the floating islands in the sky, something mystical and magical, so I wanted to stretch that a little bit further in this build. So I actually used some of the new things that were added to the Terraria 1.4.4 update, and I'll show you a couple of variations on this build. I actually really like how they turn out, but first let's see what they look like on a normal world gen. So it's a big cloud, sometimes some water, a lot of rain, and it has a little bit of land perched in the middle, and a building to house the little chest of goodies. So let's see if we can recreate that but make it a little bit different. So first off, I actually started off with the main island, and I'm mixing a bit of sandstone to create the rock with the dirt and some of the clouds kind of gathering around that island. And you'll notice I'm making a little bit of a cavity in the island itself, and I'll show you what I'm going to do with that in just a second. But first, let's go over a couple of the little effects and the techniques that we're going to be using in this build. And one of them is using the bubble technique, which I did a whole video on. And if you missed that, I'll put a link in the description and on the screen as well. Really great effect, and there's lots of possibilities. So if you want to see how it's done, then check out that video. Otherwise, I needed to make some sort of giant thick rope. That was the idea. And using the ash block is such a great new block to 1.4.4. Because if you put it at an angle and hammer it, it kind of looks like a twisted rope. And I painted this brown just to help the overall look. I don't know what you think, let me know in the comments section. But let's get back to the time lapse. So once I started adding the bubbles of water, I actually changed my mind about this cavity and actually changed it to just a sort of a bulging lake in the middle of the island. Once I liked the overall look of that, and then went on to the main focal point of this build, and that is these ropes which are actually tying around some floating bubbles which are actually holding this island up. So what I wanted it to look like was a kind of a lasso around this bubble. Then I added another rope which was tying the smaller island to the larger island, and then a supersized bubble holding the whole side of this island. And once this looks structurally safe, I made a little building where you'll find the little chest of sky loot. And once I finish doing a couple more little details, I'm going to show you around the build. Now let me show you around the completed build. And to actually enter this, because it's a solid block, I had to put a logic sensor in here, and using the echo coating which has been added is absolutely amazing because it's just completely invisible. So once you gain access to the island, you can see the overall bubbles that are holding up this whole island, and then you've got the little house which has all the sky loot, and as you can see I've added a bit more greenery and a bit more effects. So a new addition to Terraria 1.4.4 is illuminant coating. Now we had illuminant paint, but it was very limited, so I'm really glad they changed it, but it really makes these skulls pop and look like real gold, and that's because you can put the illuminant over painted blocks now. So with the Spectre goggles on, you can see all the hidden elements. So I've got a water fountain, which is an icy one. You can see all the bubbles, and I've also added gem spark walls, which looks amazing at night, and I'll show you that in just a second. But before I do that, I'm going to show you what it looks like using this shimmer, and I think this is my favorite. Let me know down in the comments which one is yours. But as you can see at night, it really glows, and using that gem spark wall really helps those bubbles stand out. So I hope you liked the build, and if you did, then please leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more. But let me know if you want to see more of these little tweaks to Terraria World Gen. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.